Welcome to Orange County Talk Radio. I'm John Marino, and we are produced by Shark Creative, made possible by Tompkins Mahopac Bank, by Robotic Oil, the house that service built by Lipolis Electric. Don't be left in the dark. Get Lipolis by Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard throughout the Hudson Valley and beyond. By White Plains Hospital, by Michael Lambriola, landscape design and construction of Armonk. And here on Orange County Talk Radio, we welcome you to what's happening in the Lower Hudson Valley here during Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, the month of September. We are joined by Luis Abramson. Luis, we spoke to a few weeks back. He is the founder of CHJI, Cultivating Healing and Justice Initiative Support Services of Middletown. They are based in Middletown. They are a cancer and a prostate cancer specifically support group. Also joined today by Dr. Vinayak Wagascar. Dr. Vinayak Wagascar in full medical regalia. You see him in the head wrap and in the face mask. He is a urology specialist at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan, where I was born, as a matter of fact, and also an instructor at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, too. Gentlemen, welcome to Orange County Talk Radio. Luis, I want to begin with you. And last time around, you talked about this. You have a rather unique prostate cancer story. Tell us about that again, if you would.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for having me, John Marino. It all started back in January of 2020, and I got the unfortunate news, and I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I had taken a PSA test, which led to me basically having a series of follow-ups, and those series of follow-ups really did save my life. And for this matter, I was diagnosed at an age that many men don't even think of, which is
how old is that?
It's 40.
40.
And so many men really need to quite understand that this is not really a one tale says it all. Every man has different outcomes. Different stages of life, but what's for sure is that when they have a PSA test, they have what Dr. Wagascar at Mount Sinai does, which is both the early intervention, the aftercare. This is something that's needed because anyone can get prostate cancer. I was age 40. I was healthy, didn't really think of, I had even...
Did you feel like anything was wrong?
Oh, no, absolutely. I not. I had walked, and done like a run walk for special needs for the Special Olympics up in Hudson Valley. Very active man. And then this happens. And I'm like, how could this be? And then I came to find out how it runs so highly on men of brown skin color as well. So, so definitely I want to say that it makes a difference if you are proactive and take your PSA. It really makes a difference. And now more than ever, we're under a pandemic with COVID-19. This is now a secondary issue, and men need to know that you don't necessarily have to look unhealthy to have cancer. You can have cancer and not know it. Mm-hmm. So this is this is a good segue to have Dr. Wagascar talk about what is prostate cancer.
I'm going to preface, Dr. Wagascar, my first thought to you by saying that, to follow up on what Luis said, my mother passed away a couple of years ago, December of 2019, but she had a cancer history, had uterine cancer a decade ago, had successful surgery. She did not pass away from that a decade later. She had a brother, my uncle, who had prostate cancer for 14 years. And I think, Luis, I told you this once. He had cancer for 14 years and lived with it, did what he had to do, did not die from that either in the end. And my mother would always be on me to go get that PSA test done. You got a history of not just cancer, but your uncle's prostate cancer in the family too. So I try to be as proactive as possible. I have a cousin on the other side of the family who has had some high readings in the past few years, but has been told he does not have cancer and things seem to be in order. I know that's been an issue a couple of times for him. Give us a little background, Dr. Wagascar, about prostate cancer. What causes it? Is there a diagnosed specific cause for prostate cancer? I've never heard of there being one, but I'm not a medical professional. You are.
All right. So that's really interesting question. But first of all, thank you, John, for having me on this beautiful event. And I would like to take that. I'll just like to continue first to what Luis is saying. Just to tell you that the prostate cancer is the second most cancer, like a solid cancer in the male in the United States. And
what's number one? Skin cancer?
Yeah, it's the skin cancer is the number one solid malignancy in male. And it's second most deadliest cancer in male in the United States. The first one being the lung.
Prostate cancer is the most deadliest in men in the U.S.?
No, it's the second most deadliest. The first
second most deadliest, but it's right up there at the top of the list.
Exactly.
I wouldn't imagine that, knowing of all the success stories of people who recovered, at least high-profile people like Joe Torre, the former Yankees and Mets manager, Rudy Giuliani, for example, and you see and hear about so many others who have recovered from prostate cancer, yet you see those stories behind the scenes. Have come across many of those who did not make it and maybe didn't have the ability to have the access to the kinds of treatments that a Joe Torre or a Rudy Giuliani might have been able to have.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very well said. And just to tell you that you are saying that the prostate cancer, does it cause any symptoms, or does we know that the prostate cancer is having or something like that? So around 90 to 95% of the people doesn't have any symptoms. So if they have any symptoms like blood in the urine or pain or something like that, then in that case, it's already in the advanced stage. So 90 to 95% of the people with the prostate cancer doesn't have any symptom. That's why the screening is really essential. To tell you the cause, like what it causes, like what causes the prostate cancer. So there is no single reason for the prostate cancer, and there is no only reason for having the prostate cancer. There are multiple factors involved in. It starts from the age, it starts from the family history, it starts from the race, it starts from the environmental factors, it starts from the genes that we have. So speaking about the age, sometimes it happens in earlier age, like Luis said, about around 40 years.
At 40, yeah.
Exactly. But majority of the men have it after 55 years of age. That's why the American Urological Association recommended a shared decision making between a patient and a physician. If they want to do a screening test, they should do it between 55 to 69 years of age.
When should we really start to get our prostate checked on a regular basis? We used to hear 60, then 50. Now there's talk about 40, around Luis's age.
Yeah,
that's right. So I would like to take that question. The recommendations from American Urological Association are, they recommend to do the PSA testing and a physical exam after 55 years of age. Okay, provided the patient knows the risk and benefits of the screening test. There are two certain most important factors. If the patient has a strong family history of prostate cancer, then the screening age goes to 45, like the 10 years before.
Wow, that's a big drop.
And
that's a big drop.
If there are more than one in the family member, more than one member has a prostate cancer, then that drops to 40 years of age. So that's how it works. And along with that, someone with a African American race or someone with a strong genetic history, they also have to screen 10 years before, like 45 years of age. So these are like the factors that they cause. Speaking about the diet, more of the sugar, more of like animal fat, more of like red meat, they are something considered as like a factors, but not proved yet.
But it's still something you should be aware of. Watch your red meat intake, watch your sugar intake, because this could possibly one day involve your prostate if you have too much of this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For somebody like me who's about to be 65 years old, I started to get tested, PSA tests, in my early 40s. That's around the time when my uncle was first diagnosed with the prostate cancer. And we didn't know 20, 25 years ago what we know today. As it turned out, that was probably, based on what you've just said, about the right age where I should have started to get tested at that time, based on family history.
Yeah,
That's
John.
right.
John, let's not let's not forget environmental
Causes and factors.
because you got a lot of 9/11
First responders,
which is right now we're about to celebrate, right? Not celebrate, but talk about.
remember 20 years 9/11.
So
we've seen so many 9/11 victims pass away, first responders, emergency responders who passed away from prostate cancer.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about, Dr. Wagascar, are there different kinds of prostate cancers, or is it just lumped under one roof, one column?
So that's a really good question again. There are different kinds of prostate cancer, what we call 1, 2, and 3. 1 means a low-risk prostate cancer, 2 means an intermediate-risk prostate cancer, and 3 means an aggressive or a high-risk prostate cancer. Mm. So usually this is decided by prostate biopsy, and prostate biopsy will tell us a Gleason score, which is a pathological based Gleason score, to tell us how aggressive the prostate cancer is. So Gleason score range from 6 to 10. So the person who is having Gleason score 6 on prostate biopsy is considered as a low risk. The patient who is having Gleason 7 score on a biopsy is considered as an intermediate risk, and a patient who is having Gleason score 8 or above, 8, 9, 10, they are considered as a high risk.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if you come in under a 7, you should be okay.
Along with this, there are different factors which we call a PSA. We do a PSA test, which is a blood test, which is called a prostate specific antigen test. So the PSA test of 10 to 20 and more than 20, it's considered as like a low, intermediate, and high risk. So this is combining of everything. Then again, the physical examination that I mentioned, the digital rectal examination of the prostate. If it looks like the abnormal area or the cancer is coming out of the prostate, he's essentially undergo as a high risk prostate cancer. Mm-hmm. Or if the DRE or the exam is normal, then he will be under low or intermediate risk prostate cancer. So there are different parameters. The genomics also involving, we do a genomic testing a lot in Mount Sinai, and that does help in like getting the people who are at aggressive cancer to detect earlier and to treat them earlier.
Mm-hmm. Here on Orange County Talk Radio, what's happening in the Lower Hudson Valley? I'm John Marino. We are joined by Luis Abramson, founder of CHJI, Cultivating Healing and Justice Initiative Support Services. They're located in Middletown, and they deal basically with prostate cancer, a prostate cancer support group, but any kind of cancer that you may be aware of that someone you know might have, or if you are a cancer patient, they work with you as well, regardless of types of cancer. Also joined by Dr. Vinayak Wagascar, urology specialist at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan and an instructor at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai as well. Luis, you went in for surgery, I guess, right in the middle of the pandemic. What was it like for you to be in a hospital then, knowing you were about to have surgery, and at that point anything could happen?
I gotta be honest. It felt nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking. It was by all accounts. All kinds of thoughts go through your mind, and it's a different approach, because now you're coming in as a patient with cancer. But you have to, because of the COVID-19, you have to come in with the mindset that you're going to have to be there with the physician and not with normally your significant other.
You had to take a COVID test before surgery, correct?
Right, and there's a series of steps, to get to the surgery itself. But with all in all, I must say that you're in very good hands when it comes to Mount Sinai. Doctors like Dr. Wagascar, Dr. Ash Tawari, Because this is a hospital that really specializes in this type of field. But so but it definitely is a very different feeling and approach as opposed to other cancer patients in the past.
I understand what you went through because last November I had to have hernia surgery. I was supposed to have it April of 2020, got canceled due to COVID. It seemed to calm down the situation, then just kind of blew up in the beginning of November. And I was in a situation where at that point it had to be done. And my regular physician told me, he said, don't do anything foolish or stupid. Sit at home for 2 weeks until we can get you in because you're not going to get the surgeon you're supposed to get if you do something stupid or foolish. So you're grounded for 2 weeks. You can't drive. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. And it went through my mind, wait a second, I got to pass a COVID test. So I asked the doctor and I said, I got to pass a COVID test too, right? Said, yep. He said, keep that in mind. He said, because if you don't pass that test, we can't do the surgery. And then you're really going to be up a creek possibly at that point. That was my, as
that's a big fear because you're waiting and now it can be canceled. You know, so,
right. Yeah. That was my thought that, I know I have to have this surgery done now. What if I fail the test? Then what at that point? Then I'm really, like the doctor said, going to be up a creek at that point. So I was overjoyed when I got my test results back that you're okay. So make sure you're here on time for this.
And I love that you brought that up because, Dr. Wagascar has been involved in the team in Mount Sinai that has, looked into what the effects are with COVID-19 and prostate cancer, and I'll let him better explain what they have discovered.
Doctor, by the way, I got to ask you too. For prostate surgeries now, still, does a patient have to pass a COVID test before surgery?
That's now, right. Today, it's something that the institution has a policy. So we have to do like COVID tests.
This will go on, I guess, for the time being, for the foreseeable future, where you have to pass a COVID test in order to have the surgery.
That's correct. No
question about that. Yep. And as Luis said, you would have more for us about the connection between COVID and prostate cancer. Is there a connection between the two? Is there a worrisome side of this that if you come down with COVID, that if you even have prostate cancer already, it could make it worse?
That's a really good question. And I think we are still in the phase of evolving what exactly the COVID means. And we exactly don't know. It's the COVID and prostate cancer has a relation. There are been papers coming like the androgen receptors and the role of COVID-19, but I cannot say for sure that there is a role of COVID-19 and having a prostate cancer.
Statistics showing that there are different groups, different types of people, of men, who are more susceptible than others based on ethnic background, by race, by age, etc., likely more susceptible to coming down with prostate cancer than other groups might be. Tell us about that and how important of a factor is that?
So as I explained, there are some stages of the prostate cancer. Stage 1 is confined with the prostate, within the prostate gland. Stage 2, it can be visible on the MRI or on the biopsy, but still it's within the prostate gland, whatever it is. Stage 3, it's something that is coming out of the prostate gland. And stage 4, it's something that has gone to the other sides like liver, lungs, or bones or somewhere else. Okay. So depending on the stage of the prostate cancer, the prognosis depends. So stage 1, 2 has nearly 100% survival rate based on like a surgery or radiation or something like that. They have 100% cure rate. Stage 3, comes around like 80 to 95% cure rate. And stage 4, the cure rate is only 30%. So out of 100 men who has a stage 4 disease, only 30 men will survive at the end of 5 years.
You talked about PSA testing. Who should get tested? Should men with a family history get tested sooner than others? You talked about different things and different angles about how to diagnose prostate cancer in the early stages of treatment. Get into, if you would, the more advanced stages of treatment for prostate cancer patients. I remember about 20 years ago when a Joe Torre and a Rudy Giuliani both came down with prostate cancer. if I'm not mistaken, they were treated with seed implanting at that time. Is that still effective and useful today, or are we more advanced with how we treat prostate cancer at this point?
No doubt, seeds are still effective, but I would say there have been more advanced technique right now, what we say as a robotic procedure, which we call a robotic prostate surgery, which is more advanced. And because of a lot of robots coming and a lot of surgeons are evolving, I think this is the way to go. And I will not say that the surgery and radiation, which one is better. It's as per the patient who wants to do a surgery or radiation. Along with that, there are some focal therapy options, like only treating some part of the prostate, which we call the HIFU, which burns the prostate. Like at some point of time, there is a cryotherapy, there is a cyber knife. So there are so many focal treatment options that are also available. And the people with a low risk prostate cancer, like recent 6 prostate cancer, they can be wait and watch, which we call active surveillance. So not all patients with a prostate cancer needs a treatment, but the people with like aggressive cancers or intermediate cancers, they only need a treatment. Rest patients, which are 50% of the cohort, they doesn't need a treatment, but it's essential for them to be diagnosed.
Does prostate cancer get in the way of living a regular, normal life? I think a lot of people have the impression that it's not that dangerous of a cancer, and I can go about my business. And we see athletes who get diagnosed with prostate cancer from time to time, who are young, healthy guys in their 20s and their 30s. And I know they kind of act like, you know what, I'm going to be there. Put me in the lineup, coach, for tomorrow's game. And the medical people on their respective team have to step in and say, wait a second, it's going to be a few months before you're in the lineup again, at least. So as much as people want to try to live with this, I guess the bottom line is that you have to be as safe as possible and do the medical routine thing first before you can get back to any kind of a normal life.
That's right. That's right. So we need to know exactly what kind of cancer it is before we're talking about it. If it's low risk cancer, you can have a normal life. We just have to follow up regularly. If it's undergoing treatment, then the options will be different.
So, Luis Abramson, how much did prostate cancer interfere with your life?
Okay, so it does in many ways interfere with your life. If you're a person that has a lot of obesity, you gotta really look at changing your diet plan. It really can do a lot of good for you, because you gotta understand that you're gonna have the prostate. It's really above your bladder, and you're gonna have a situation where you want to really maintain that kind of like healthy, sizable weight gain, because your bladder is a very sensitive part of your body, and so you really want to have control of your systems. And so obviously obesity, you gotta lose weight. That's like number one checkoff on the box. Then you're looking at maybe erectile dysfunction. Some men get it it's very short, and not that long lived after the treatment. Other men, it takes a little longer. And some men, unfortunately, there has to be other interventions that need to be put into place. So, not to say that the medical has become so advanced that there are other alternative treatments thereafter, if this continues to be a problem, which you can definitely tune in to our website, and we've done a very good presentation with a Newburgh physician that actually does quite well with that, and he talks about the situation with the aftercare if you're experiencing this. Then like anything else, there's the social factor. You're looking at right now, we're looking at not curving the curve. It was 300,000 men were diagnosed. 20,000 was supposed to be estimated as not being able to successfully live through this. But now we're looking at 28,000. So obviously we're not curving the curve. The curve is actually not being met. So it is quite for many doctors quite frustrating because it's hard to understand what exactly is happening in our social environment. But there is something called social determinants of health. And what that is that it's a reality. We live in a very divided nation, divided and together as well, and what happens is that depending on your social factors, like it really determines your health and the person individual in control. You're looking at where were you born, how you live, where you work, and those determinants can be a very hindrance and create what they call medical barriers. So quality of life, for better or for worse, could be something that can either help you or it can go against you. So right now when we're looking at communities that are underserved, predominantly of brown color, you're looking at a very high index in prostate cancer. Survival rate is low. And a lot of that has to do with, the social factors. So agencies like mine that, one of our primary goals is to get the education awareness out, and also help men of all walks of life, know that, there are systems in place and that there are different methods and that they can use to combat this cancer, especially under COVID-19. Doctors will tell you, like we just had Dr. Wagascar, that sometimes it is not the cancer itself; it's the secondary. So it's not. So right now, it's like a very interesting situation because now men are being faced with not only COVID-19 but also with prostate cancer, other underlying health. You just said something to yourself, John Marino, on that with your family experience. So it really is something that we need to kind of do much better at. And like I've always said, you can locate us at 40 Grove Street and Suite 103 in Middletown, New York. And our phone number is 877-245-4227. And our website is CHJISS.org. And we have Dr. Wagascar's number available in there, and his information. As you know, Mount Sinai is one of the leading hospitals with men's prostate cancer. As well as many other physicians, both also
pretty much every area health-wise, Mount Sinai. I can attest to that, having been a patient there for basically all my life.
Yeah. So
and other family members too.
Exactly.
A lot of family members born at Mount Sinai, brother, cousins, etc., around the old neighborhood there in East Harlem. Luis Abramson, I know with people like you, we're going to flatten that curve as best as possible soon. And thanks again for all the work you do, battling prostate cancer and all kinds of cancers in general, all the work you and your wife, Karen Abramson Martinez, does as well, too. She's involved, heavily involved.
Absolutely.
CHJI. Luis Abramson, founder of CHJI, Cultivating Healing and Justice Initiative Support Services, located in Middletown. And again, he gave you here his phone number and contact information. Dr. Vinayak Wagascar, also joined us too. He is a urology specialist at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan and an instructor at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, Dr. Wagascar, on how to book out early, as we say, because of an emergency at the hospital. You saw him full dress regalia and the head wrap and the face mask. He was ready to go. I'm sure he probably sleeps like that too, I think, because you got a call in the middle of the night, you're a doctor and you're somebody like him, got to be up and at him and on the way. So better to be somewhat dressed, right, ready to go get on the road instead of having to get dressed and go.
I would say I know him on a personal level. I haven't met a more dedicated physician in my entire life. He was born to do this. So, he's involved in pioneering a mobile unit that will be fully, operational, God willing, to go to the patient. So it's really a very exciting time for the health organizations, because they're really pioneering new ways to really beat this curve, and all I can say is that I feel very privileged to be here, to meet wonderful people like Mr. John Marino, and the staff, and to be able to have a second chance at life. I want to say to everyone that has a family member or you're battling prostate cancer, to keep up the fight. You're not alone. There's always services like myself and others that are here to help you, and keep your head up and continue to move forward. And I wish you all the best, and make sure that you get your PSA done, especially now that this Prostate Cancer Month. It is so much that we want to allow everybody to know. So thank you again on behalf of Cultivating Healing Justice Initiative.
And by the way, Luis, for anyone who has a different kind of cancer, they can contact you or Karen, and you'll put them in touch.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We're here to help everyone, and that is the main goal.
Luis Abramson again here on Orange County Talk Radio. What's happening in the Lower Hudson Valley? Luis, thank you. We'll talk again. Much appreciated. Great to have you back. And thanks again for all the great work that you and Karen do, and Dr. Wagascar and everybody associated with you do as well too. By the way, do you have an event coming up that you'd like people to attend?
Well, we're still in the planning stages, but we're looking at.
Let us know as soon as you get something.
We're looking at doing a walk in November. Remember, it's Grow Your Mustache Month.
Okay. I was thinking about shaving in November because of an event I have to. I never had a beard before 20 years. I said maybe I shouldn't show up.
Yeah, well, you may want to keep the mustache.
You just told me. You telling me that means keep the whole thing and trim the thing. I hate doing the work to trim this. So
just remember,
just shave the whole thing off, grow it back, but. I'm going to leave it on now because Luis said so. There you go.
Yeah, just remember, take a photo before and after in November, and we'll also have little prizes on our website.
All right.
So thank you again.
And more about that as you put it all together here on Orange County Talk Radio. Luis Abramson, we thank you. We are made possible by, and don't forget, September is Prostate Awareness Month, made possible by Robotic Oil, the house that serves, built by Tompkins Mayor Pack, banked by Lipolis Electric. Don't be left in the dark. Get Lipolis by Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth through a fiduciary standard throughout the Hudson Valley. And no matter where you happen to be, check in with Hightower. They have a program and a plan for you. By White Plains Hospital down in Westchester, by Michael Labriola, landscape design and construction of Armonk. They're in Westchester too. They cover the whole Hudson Valley. And here we are produced by Shark Creative. Catch all of our Orange, Putnam, Dutchess, Rockland, Westchester, and Fairfield County talk radio programming on our YouTube channel, Shark Creative YouTube.